Hi, it's Romy. Welcome to the channel, Scorpio. This is your June 2021 soul story. If you've got sun rising or moon in the sign, you might find that this general reading gives you a little bit heads up in navigating the influences and energies, astrological events that are going to be taking place over the next few weeks. So we're going to open up your reading with the energy of the Ten of Pentacles. And for me, there is this theme in June for you, Scorpio, about recovery and also reclaiming that sense of stability from an emotional perspective, but also in the way in which abundance surrounds you and flows to you, whether it be in your health and well-being, from a financial, a fiscal perspective. It's about what is it going to take? What do I need to put in place to enable that energy to start to flow back in towards the self? Because I think there's been a recognition about where you perhaps have felt really scattered, or you've been investing, or everything's been going one way. And the realization, I think, that's going to be landing pretty heavy for you through the course of June is this understanding that fear innately clings to things, and love is what feels like the release. And as we're into this eclipse season, and we're going to be welcoming the new moon solar eclipse in Gemini on the 10th of the month, we have to allow a release. We have to surrender into letting something pretty significant move out of our lives. Now, for some of you, that's going to be hitting on different aspects of your life. And so whether that's just letting go of a belief, letting go of the way that you used to do something, maybe more significantly letting go of a person or an experience or a situation in your life that you just have to call time in. This Gemini Sagittarius storyline has reached its point of culmination, and the conversation that's been taking place between your higher and your lower mind is really indicating to you, where have I been connecting to the chaos, and where am I now ready to understand that wisdom that has been gained as a result of what I've been through? How am I going to use what I now know? And these conversations that you're having with the self, they have to elevate the whole energy that you are expressing right now. They must be from a place where you want to witness the growth. If you are to allow this fresh new pathway to start to emerge for you, if you are to see what it was all about and why you went through it, it really is like a month of review and introspection. We've got a lot of these retrograde energies that are playing out, and it's an opportunity for us to kind of forensically, introspectively dissect what has taken place and what have I come to understand about myself because of it. Now, it's not necessarily an easy path to navigate when we have to kind of have that level of self-inquiry, particularly where things feel emotionally upheavaled or they're still feeling quite raw. And yet the Ten of Pentacles comes in with a sort of sense of reassurance, if you like, that the ground beneath your feet is going to hold you as you work through this Gemini energy, which of course illuminates that 8th house of deep, profound transformation. You're the natural ruler of this house, so you understand what it's delivering by way of the narrative, and it's a time where some of these big questions about the meaning in your life, perhaps the meaning of yourself, you are really starting to sit with these in a new way. And what I'm picking up for this month of June is that it's going to lead you directly to quite an interesting evaluation process, where you get to understand something, or it's explained in a certain way that it's never really landed, or you've never really got it in this level of detail that you're about to, and that's really meaningful and quite life-changing for you, actually. So we have the Three of Cups coming in, and I feel like there is this opportunity to give some recognition and celebration to the self, and also to just allow yourself to, I suppose, re-emerge into some of the group situations and dynamics and friendships and connections with a different sense of self, with a different readiness to have new types of conversations. I think you're really wanting more for yourself through the course of June, Scorpio, and that's going to translate into the people that you want to connect with and who you want to hang out with. I think that there is a sense of not coming from a place of ego, but rather this from a place of recognition of this is what I bring to the party. This is what I bring into this friendship or this relationship or this workplace or this environment. And being like really accepting and trusting of that, it puts you in a much more confident position to, I suppose, let go of expectations of what you need other people to say or do, because there's much more of a kind of self-reliance energy that's coming through for me. But at the same time, we want to be able to not separate you, but rather bring you back into the environments that you want to be in with the people who you want to spend time with. But it's just starting to evolve to a new, more positive energy for you, you know? The Ten of Pentacles for me is also this recognition that we can learn from what has been before. You know, we've got the wisdom of age here, we've got the older gentleman sitting on top of this fallen tree trunk, demonstrating not only from a karmic family perspective, but also just even what we've learned, you know, through the collective, through the ages. And there's just something about you reflecting back, perhaps, you know, a little bit further into your life and you know, just thinking about how you want to make a mark, how you want to show up, who you want to show up as, and, you know, this aspect of recovering lost parts of yourself. It's almost like a soul retrieval month, if you like, you know, it's like that shamanic healing modality. It's kind of what comes into my mind. Where you're just kind of tracing back steps and kind of calling pieces of yourself back home to be able to reclaim something and then to celebrate it and to share that expertise, that wisdom, and that new level of energy. The recognition of where you are sort of clinging to things or holding on to things that have really passed their expiration date, I think is going to be illuminated for you through the course of this month. And you'll have quite a clear indication of that, because there's a level of sort of weariness and exhaustion and energy drain. And sometimes we need to push through. Sometimes we need to dig deep and find that level of perseverance. And yet other times we really need to recognize that, you know, the universe is telling us something. It's calling us out and it's saying, you know what, this is not really conducive to your growth. And this is the thing with 8th house energy and the eclipse season coming in. You know, the conversation that's now happening within the self is saying we cannot tolerate, you know, our body, our mind, our soul just can't function in a way that's progressive and, you know, going to help us to evolve and have that sense of lightness and freshness and vibrancy that we're seeking if we continue to self-harm and sabotage ourselves to go back into situations that are not working. Now, Venus moves into Cancer on the 2nd of the month, a fellow water sign, so that's going to feel like a language that you understand. And so Venus, of course, ruling that 2nd house of value, you know, how we see ourselves and how we connect both in relationships, but also in terms of the material world, what we surround ourselves with that makes us feel good. And in Cancer energy, there's a very nurturing, tactile, sensitive vibe there, but it can make people overly sensitive and tetchy. And so there's also that recognition of just feeling like you're having to kind of tiptoe around energies, or perhaps people tiptoeing around you. There's that kind of feeling of miscommunication and uncertainty because we have Mercury retrograde. We also have Pluto and Saturn, and then joining that, we're going to have Jupiter and Neptune this month as well. So, you know, all of this kind of lends itself to just kind of quietly calling the energy back in. But at the same time, we need to recognize June is one of these months where, you know, there's a flood of information that's coming your way, and there's a lot to kind of take on board, and it can be quite dizzying in terms of the pace, you know. And so you might want to purposefully try to slow it down by stepping back or not kind of getting caught up in somebody else's decision about what the timeline should be. That's really important. And your high priestess gives you very wise counsel on that. She's a passive receptive energy, which means that you are, stepping back and observing situations and certain dynamics that are playing out this month. And that's going to serve you really well, especially as we make our way towards the 14th, where Saturn's going to be squaring Uranus, the second of these transits. We had the first one back on the 17th of February. Now, there's no doubt this will have affected you significantly in one area of your life. So think back to what went on around that time. We have the third one on the 24th of December, but, very challenging, provocative, contrasting energy that's demanding change from us in some aspect. And so your high priestess gives you the wiseness and the counsel and the trusting of the self to say, okay, I know what I need to do in this instance. And it's not about looking outside of myself. This is about your recovery and your reclaiming of your sovereignty and your power. And the bigger the questions, the deeper you go, the more growth you're going to see. What we're really wanting you to do is to start letting go of things that you're holding on to for other people so that you can reinstate your own sense of self. That's really important. We want you to be the captain of your own ship. Now, the curtains are being pulled back here, but they're not fully open. So you're still taking some time with that quiet counsel to kind of really reflect and ponder and work something out on your terms, I think, before you're ready necessarily to have the conversation, to share or to open up. That's totally okay. And make sure that you give yourself the chance to kind of really look at all possibilities and eventualities from who you now are. It feels like that really matters, and what you're connecting to. Are you in this instance trying to connect to a chaotic energy or someone else's view of the world? Like, we really need to make sure that you're looking through your own lens, and at the same time kind of learning from the past, learning from your own past, but also from your experience of these people up to this point. If this is what they've always done, even though we want to allow people the opportunity to grow, if they are demonstrating a continuation of the same behavior over and over again, then, what is the likelihood of getting caught back up into a similar pattern? It's pretty high. So we need to kind of give ourselves permission to say, not this time. Like, we need to kind of set out something different for ourselves. Now, we have a wealth of new opportunities coming in, and that word wealth, I really like for you this month, and I want you to kind of consider it in what it means for you, because it in some ways I feel like it could be a little bit loaded. Maybe the idea of wealth for you is something that isn't in your immediate experience, or there is changes or flux happening, or you're very comfortable with it but it feels staid and stagnant. So there's something about you reframing and coming to like a new belief and a new understanding by looking at something from a much more evolved, experienced place, and kind of attaching a new meaning and a new energy to the idea of wealth. And when we say wealth, it's not just financial, Scorpio. It's about, the wealth of your happiness, the wealth of your well-being, the wealth of love and abundance of good energy, positive energy, of experiences and opportunities, of things opening up, of feeling a sense of freedom and vitality and vibrancy. And so I want you to kind of start to think about your life in new ways, on new terms. Now, your Five of Wands suggests that there's something that you still feel conflicted over. I think there's this sense of you still trying to figure out, what is it that I need to bring to this situation, or what do I need to say to this person, or how do I need to handle this? And it just feels very complex. It's not so black and white. There's a very charged energy around this that feels almost politically driven. Okay, so you're having to kind of tread a little bit mindfully. Ultimately, I think it's important that you get really clear on what you want out of this situation, what your end game is. That's going to make it far easier for you to stay the course and hold the space and have really clear boundaries and set directives in place so that you don't get kind of overshadowed or suppressed, or end up kind of entangled in like petty arguments or, you know, information exchange that's just really super draining. Okay, so getting really clear on what you want and why you want it this month is going to elevate you. Remember, what we want is new conversations that are allowing you to witness your growth, and that requires you to come at this from a much higher perspective. That's what we're learning about this Gemini and Sagittarius eclipse season, you know. And of course, once this is wrapped up, we're moving forth at the end of this year into the Taurus Scorpio eclipse time, and so that's going to be extremely transformative. So there's kind of a setting up, if you like, a kind of preparing the stage, so to speak, of some of the things that you're going to be working on yourself at a deeply personal level as that energy moves through your sign over the next 18 months. So your Page of Swords coming through here, and there's something heartfelt about the desire to want to communicate your side or your wishes or your beliefs or what you think about a certain situation or experience. And you know, the wishes here of the dandelion kind of getting caught in the wind suggest to me that there is a sense of you wanting people to really see you, and the kind of the humility that comes with that, actually. And I think that's really important because there has been huge growth and learning that you have come to as a result of what you've been through. And it is time to now articulate that. It is time to share and open up. Now, the second half of the month is going to be far more conducive for that because Mercury will move direct on the 22nd. We also have Sun in Cancer from the 20th, a fellow water sign, which makes it far easier for you to feel into the energy dynamics that are at play. And that's right ahead of the solstice energy. So the midpoint of the year, where we can have that deep review of what's happened so far through the course of this year. What do I need to return to and talk about and share and express? And you know, it's that moment where the sun stands still. In the northern hemisphere, the longest day of the year, and the southern hemisphere, the shortest day. But it is about that equilibrium and balance that needs to be restored into the self, but also into situations around us. And you can do that by opening up and communicating really clearly. Now, on the same day, we have Venus trining Neptune. So all this beautiful water energy, just helping emotions to be soothed and to kind of come together in a more unifying way. We also then have that full moon in Capricorn coming in on the 24th, which helps us to ground some of that energy and actualize it into something tangible and real, and bring to fruition something that we've been working on or investing in really from the early part of 2021. And so there's a lot of good positive energy that's coming in and around that time that we want you to take advantage of. Even on the 23rd, the sun is trining with Jupiter, so things are going to start to get magnified. Now remember, Jupiter goes retrograde in Pisces on the 20th of the month, which means that the expansion and the magnification happens on the internal. Yeah, it happens on the internal. So a lot of spiritual growth taking place at that time, especially as in Cancer season, we're in that 9th house energy for you, which is all about, you know, the changing philosophies, ideologies that you have for yourself. But, you know, that vision quest that you're on to kind of really seek deeper meaning and understanding to your world. I love the alchemy and the magic and the mystery of the magician coming in, because I think that there is so much unseen that through the course of June is going to start to reveal itself in really exciting ways. And you can anticipate that through the course of the next few weeks, Scorpio, there are opportunities abounding for you in terms of going to the next level, seeing something in yourself you've never experienced before, looking at yourself differently and saying, this is now what I need to adjust and what I want to change and what I want to explore. And, you know, both the Page of Swords and the Magician say to me, it's also a time to really sell yourself. But to sell yourself, you have to believe in yourself. Otherwise, there's like a disconnect there on a vibrational match energy. So we have to embody it and feel it within the self, first of all, which again, your High Priestess, your 10 of Pentacles is rooting and grounding that in for you. And then you're ready to share. And just watch this space is what I want to say. So any of you that are trying to make advancements by way of work and career, and starting to just create more opportunities for yourself, you're definitely going to see the energy shift. And it's almost like this slightly, and I mean this in a positive way, but this slightly kind of provocative energy from the universe that says, go on then. This is what you think you want. Well, here you go. Are you gonna take it? And this is where you go back to this idea of where, what are you clinging to? Because that's the fear. And if you're ready to release, and if it feels like the natural next step, then it's coming from a place of love and from a place of trust and from a place of certainty. And so don't get me wrong, there's a energy of being like really put out of our comfort zones through the course of June. But I also think that you can make that work to your advantage, because as you start to overcome some of these fears and you really give yourself the opportunity to become a different person in the new situations that you find yourself in, it's really gratifying. It feels really gratifying. And I think that you're able to kind of put like a really solid new foundation in place for yourself. And then some of the answers start to return to you from the bigger questions that you might have been asking about, why did I go through this? What was this about? What is the purpose? Like, why have I needed to experience that? So your King of Wands comes in, he's beating this jungle drum, the fire and the flames are kind of licking around him, and it's like, everything's getting charged up here. Everything feels exciting. Everything feels visionary. Everything feels like when you bring heart to it and you combine that with this newfound growth, not only is there the recovery that has now taken place, there's now this reclaiming energy, because you're now connecting to something higher. You're now connecting to something more advanced within yourself. And it is a reminder that you want change in your life. You can affect that change. Sometimes these eclipses bring that hand of fate and they absolutely redirect us, and things change moment to moment. And so we have to be flexible. We have to almost suspend our judgment on why things are happening. But at the same time, we have to be poised and ready to take advantage of a lot of what comes our way. And there is this sense that a lot is set to come your way if you can separate the wheat from the chaff and really kind of figure out what has been draining and what is lighting yourself up, and who, Now, it may well be a fire sign that's important as well, a Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, who's coming in, that also feels like they believe in you, they're ready to support you, they want to push you, they have an idea of how to get the best from you. If this is from a relationship perspective, it also feels like it's somebody who gets you and understands you. So it might just be somebody displaying those kind of qualities. If you're experiencing connections and relationships that have been more problematic and you've had that kind of discord and challenge, especially from perhaps a friendship perspective for some of you, or within groups or communities, places within work, I also have a step change coming in on that level as well, because there's a new level of confidence that's coming from Scorpio in June to just say, okay, to hell with it. Like, this is not something I'm prepared to put up with. This is how I need things to roll. If I'm able to, do what I do best, or to be, the person that I want to be, or I'm now ready to be. But it does come for me much more from a place of this new higher perspective, aligning to the higher self, rather than from that ego place. And that makes all the difference, because it means that the energy that you are sending out, just delivers that authenticity, and people are magnetically drawn towards that. We've got Venus then moving into Leo right at the end of the month on the 27th, and there is that charge and that energy and that kind of heart and bravery actually that's going to start to reveal itself. And Two of Wands just shows me the planning, the preparation that you put into being through the course of June is just going to have really far-reaching impact for you. Okay, what we want to ask ourselves is, where am I prepared to invest? Where am I prepared to be all in? Because I know that what's going to come from it by way of an experience or an energy is going to allow me that chance to witness growth. And, that might mean that you will come up against some fear or some doubt or some uncertainty into yourself. But she's holding the world here. The sky is really clear, and that full moon is like beaming, absolutely beaming. And, what we want to understand is that when we're put through different experiences and at a soul level we are trying to dissect and decipher them, sometimes we can end up sitting for too long in the kind of questioning aspect of it. But there's a time for action, and the action time is kind of really landing quite firmly toward that end of June, because as we sort of move through that eclipse season, like what you've gained from it will have changed you irrevocably at some level. Like it just will. We can't come out of these experiences, and your awareness of the self, your awareness of your own energy will indicate that to you. Okay, I know the people that are tuning in to my channel and to my readings have that level of self-awareness, and so the accountability that comes from that, and the energetic kind of hygiene, if you like, the way that you then start to take control and command your own energy to take that out into the world in a different way, is what we see as the true embodiment of kind of what you've learned. And that's going to serve you really well over the next few weeks, Scorpio. I think there's an awful lot of exciting conversations that are set to happen for you, and I think you've got messages coming in that are almost giving you all of the pieces. You have to be the one that kind of puts them together and figures out what to do with them or what to create with them. But I feel like there's this aspect of like having the raw components and you just getting a really clear vision of, this is what I want to do with this, Let's take a look at the oracle cards and see how they want to reflect this conversation for us. Okay. Repairing the veil, forgiveness. I mean, we talk about this aspect of almost recovery a little bit that comes through in the month of June, and to find forgiveness, to find tolerance, compassion, both for yourself, but for situations and people that have been involved in perhaps more difficult, dysfunctional situations, isn't easy. Life isn't easy right now, but you're still doing it. You're still actively involved and participating in your own pathway and your own journey, and you are showing up for yourself, regardless of how much you feel, to the opposite of that. So what this shows me is that you are now knitting together like this new level of acceptance and peace within yourself, and that's what ultimately allows this beautiful transformation. Now we have all the wild flowers here beneath beneath this rod, and it's important because I think that once we allow and we knit together that aspect of just releasing something and we're no longer clinging to something, what can come from that? It's like when you sprinkle down those seeds and you have no idea what the flower is going to be and what's about to come up and in the soil. And so there's this beautiful level of anticipation that says, okay, now I've come to terms with something. What can come from this? And there's a beauty to that, and an excitement that we want you to feel, and I think that you will through the course of June. And again, sometimes it's just about the forgiveness to the self. Not all of you might be ready or willing or able at this point to kind of fully allow a sense of forgiveness towards a specific person or situation, but we can certainly release some of the attachment that we have to the energy of that so that you can witness some of the growth. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at oracle card. Okay, we have the wood nymph, beauty. Almost this scene just feels kind of a little bit scorpionic, doesn't it? It's kind of at night time and they're submerged in the water here. It's sort of quite mysterious with that beautiful full moon lighting up the night sky. And so there's something about you feeling very at home in a certain situation or environment that I think is coming through for you, and recognizing the beauty of that and the importance of needing that in your life. So kind of creating a space that actually is really going to ground you, and having people around you that kind of speak and resonate in the same language. But there's something that's really soulful and soothing and kind of reassuring, I think, about you finding yourself in a certain environment through the course of June that's going to say to you, this is where I want to be, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to express myself, this is where I want to hang out, you know. So it's a really gorgeous energy coming in there with that nice earthiness. Pay attention around that full moon as well as to what's coming in with it being that earth moon in Capricorn. So your astrology is Scorpio, lovely. Intensity, exposing, purging and renewing. There is this beautiful sense of transformation coming through, but you are getting a clear handle for yourself in this month of June, Scorpio, about what's important and where you need to prioritize, you know, your own thoughts and wants and desires, and be really intentional about the planning and the application of some of that energy so that it's working for you to assist this recovery and this reclaiming aspect that we see coming in. Okay, this is a general reading. If you'd like to join me for the extended, you can find the link for that in the description box underneath. I'm just going to go ahead and pull us a couple of cards in relation to a question I might not have answered for you in the main reading, so just have a think about that for me just now. You can find the link in the description box and the comment section underneath, Scorpio. It's just a way to support my channel, so thank you for those of you that join me. So just starting off with the Ten of Pentacles, we have Ten of Wands coming in. King of Wands and fire energy showing up twice here in your reading, so might be a significance around this. Also the Hanged Man. Eight of Swords here. We do feel a little bit bound up. Even the swirling of this belt around her just shows a little bit of restriction coming in. And Nine of Wands. Too little, too late is a little bit of an energy that I also get coming in as well, so that might be relevant for some of you. Queen of Wands also making an appearance. The answers will always be within. So there's an aspect of retreat as well that I pick up quite strongly for you. Wanting to retreat because there's more important things that you need to be focused upon or working towards. There's that Magician coming in again. I love this for you. Going to really help you to get out of any situations that feel tricky or problematic as well. Look at this, the Page of Wands kind of like dazzled by the expression of energy and the messages that are coming through there. We'll explore that a little bit more. Nine of Pentacles coming in here, Justice energy. Remember, from a legality perspective, the old retrograde can sometimes mean that we're going to have to revisit things after the event as well if you are signing up or agreeing to anything. Knight of Wands coming in, Four of Pentacles. These two kings working beautifully together, Two of Cups, I really like that for you. And your card, of course, of Death coming in. Two of Wands showing up again. Five of Cups. It's the recovery aspect as well here coming in. Another Ten of Pentacles. There's some family situations going on for some of you. Forgiveness around an earth sign, perhaps. Queen of Pentacles there. Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo. Maybe that's relevant. Another High Priestess for you. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, Scorpio. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel this month. I wish you beautiful blessings for June, and take good care. If you're joining me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this conversation with you there. Bye for now.